Ironically, games looking so good nowadays does an incredible job of hiding the fact that games have regressed so much. All you have to do is look at games like Call of Duty, Forspoken, FIFA, Avowed and Starfield, although I low-key enjoyed Avowed and Starfield. But either way, these are all very mediocre games, and I know when it comes to video games looking good is very subjective, but for me, they're incredible looking games. Okay, I'm not going to deny that just because they're pretty crap games. For me, they look incredible. It's just that they're not very fun games. But recently, I played a game that must be over 20 years old by now, I think, that surpasses all of these games and many more AAA titles in terms of immersion and entertainment, and it manages to do that while looking like absolute dog crap. Now, before I reveal to you what game this is, I must admit one thing is the fact that I'm a huge hypocrite. Because the main reason I did not want to play these old games was because of the outdated graphics. And why does that make me a hypocrite? It's because I am one of those people that are highly critical of modern video game companies that only prioritizes visuals, right? I am one of those people who always go around saying online to my friends, old games did it better because they focused on the right elements when it comes to a video game, not just the visuals. I am one of those people, but I'm also one of those people who aren't playing these games because of the outdated graphics. So you can see where this hypocrisy is coming from, right? But fortunately for me, I had two very big motivators that helped me kind of force myself to play this game. And the first one is pretty simple actually, is because I was tired of feeling like a hypocrite, and the second one is kind of actually going to reveal what game this is, but whatever, is the lack of a good vampire game. Now, my first experience with vampires in video games was Skyrim. It was that mission where I had to go in a cave to stop this monster vampire from building a vampire nest, and he wasn't all that, but their armor was super cool, and I contracted vampiricis, blah blah blah, whatever, and I ended up becoming a vampire myself. But this is a mechanic I did not even know of, right? It just randomly happened to me, and I thought it was just so cool. And it was even cooler when they released the Dawnguard DLC. My goodness, how good was that DLC? At least for me, it's the best Skyrim DLC because I'm into vampires and stuff like that. And they even had a vampire lord skill tree. It was just crazy. It was mayhem for me, okay? But anyways, ever since then, no other game really scratched that vampire itch for me. And Vampire is a game that gained quite a lot of traction, but again, I'm not gonna dive deep into this game, but it just didn't do it for me, okay? And I'm sure by now you already know which game it is that I'm talking about. It is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Yes, what an amazing game. What an amazing game. Now, what was so good about this game for me is because the narrative consequences and the narrative structure of the game was prioritized. And obviously back then when it was released, the graphics were pretty good as well, so they managed to just tick all the boxes. But if you play it now, obviously it looks like shit, okay? And you would not play this game because of its graphics. So let's put graphics aside, because I played it now. I played it in 2026, and even though it looked good back then, it doesn't change the fact that in 2026 it looks like crap, okay? It truly feels like a dynamic game, unlike Skyrim. And guys, I love Skyrim, okay? So yeah, I'm not trying to just say Skyrim is a bad game. It is a good game, but let's be honest, it pretends to be dynamic, but it's not really dynamic. The choices most of the time don't really matter. And you will notice if you have played any Bethesda games, I'm sure you're very familiar with the dialogue system. The 4 dialogue options that you get, right? But 90% of the time, the NPC has one generic answer prepared that's vague enough to make sense with each of the dialogue options. But Vampire Masquerade, I'm just going to call it that, also does that, but they also consistently have NPCs with dialogue with specific answers to each one of your dialogues. And also, it's not limited to just 4 dialogue options. Usually it has way more than 4 dialogue options, and a lot of the times, not all the time, a lot of the times, the NPCs actually have a specific response to that dialogue option. And this is kind of what makes it feel so dynamic, right? And this is just the tip of the iceberg. When you start a new game in Vampire Masquerade, you have this option to participate in a questionnaire to determine what kind of vampire you're going to be. And when I participated, I actually got a Malkavian. And if you're familiar with the game at all, you'll know like I probably got the best option possible, because to those of you who don't know, a Malkavian is a clinically insane vampire, basically. And in my opinion, being a Malkavian actually carried my playthrough, because personally, I just love unhinged characters, man. I cannot get enough of them. And another thing that I think Malkavian kind of carried my playthrough is because I tried another playthrough with one of those fancy vampires. I can't remember the names. They're supposed to be the charming ones, the handsome, the beautiful ones. It was so boring, man. It might be because I already kind of know how the story goes, but that's not really why I wanted to replay it. I wanted to replay to see the different reactions, because the reactions are different for a lot of the characters, because through your choices, missions are actually affected. The outcome of characters are actually affected. The way they treat you is actually affected. The way they talk to you is actually affected. Like, they actually have all different dialogue options for these. It is crazy. It's crazy. Okay? And what was amazing with Vampire Masquerade when I got Malkavian is it made me feel like a crazy vampire. It made me feel like an unhinged, crazy vampire, because they treated me like this.
What? Oh, man. And you're a goddamn Malkavian, too. Wow. You really are fucked.
What? Oh, my. A Malkavian. This ought to be absolutely delicious. 2 minds as crazy as ours, and who knows just what might happen. Oh, but you've got it bad, little boy. Not sure exactly what is real and what isn't?
Oh, shit, you're a Malkavian, aren't you? Damn, that's the last thing I need. I'm bleeding all over the carpet. I can't even understand what the hell you're saying.
Are you sure you're in the right place? Psychiatric's on the 3rd floor. I have no idea what you're talking about. And to be honest, I don't have time to figure it out. I'm the only doctor here right now, and we have twice as many people as usual waiting for treatment.
Yeah, for me, it's such a simple thing to do, but so extremely effective for immersion. Hilarious without being too try hard. Although the game only has 4 endings, it felt replayable because I wanted to see the different reactions of different choices, and I also wanted to see how differently I get treated for being a different kind of vampire, right? There is just so much content when it comes to the clan's politics, because I think there's like 8 clans or something like that, and the politics between them is so dense, it's so deep, it's so fun. The way they interact with each other is just so fun. I haven't seen any other game do this. Maybe I'm missing some games, but it's just so fun, okay? There is a reason this is a cult classic. Like, I'll give you an example. For example, the poster girl for the game, that vampire's wearing a skirt. I didn't even know you could bang her, right? I only found out afterwards while I was like browsing Reddit or something, right? And again, wanting to replay this game did not come from the fact that I felt FOMO of seeing all the endings, which I am guilty of when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077. I have like 300 hours in that game just because I wanted to see all the endings, but I didn't want to see the endings with the same characters. I wanted a whole new character. You know how it goes, okay? Now, while the game being dynamic is of course a major charm, the reason it feels dynamic is due to the incredible writing of almost every character. I'm not even exaggerating, right? I have not played a game where it feels like every character has had effort put into, right? again, I want to come back to Bethesda games because I pretty much grew up with Skyrim, Oblivion, right? And Fallout 3. So I'm going to come back to Bethesda games. But when it comes to Bethesda games, right, only a few of the characters actually have personality. And the rest, you can clearly see they're just placeholders, like just basic NPCs or whatever. But with Vampire Masquerade, of course they have some placeholder NPCs, but there are so many important characters. Let me tell you that. And even the unimportant ones have personality. It's crazy. It's like, man, it's so immersive. It's so immersive. Like, it looks like this. See how crap it looks? It does not look good. But yet, in 2026, I was so immersed in this game. I was just fully immersed in this game. And this is the power of narrative gaming. This is the power of prioritizing these narrative consequences and the structure of, you know what I mean? This is why I'm saying when it comes to games nowadays, because everybody is trying to prioritize, we have the best looking game. Our game looks the most realistic. They've ultimately regressed because they've kind of stopped focusing on these elements of the game that actually provides to the immersion of a video game, right? Who cares how good COD looks when you got like, I don't know, I can't even remember, like that stupid campaign where he is now like a giant illusion. He's like, he has like red eyes or some shit. I don't know, man. The COD I remember is like Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, those campaigns, you know, where you get betrayal here and there, you know, politics here and there. To wrap up, as you can see, the game is pretty hideous, okay? And I know a lot of people will point out and say it looked the best at the time when it was released. It looks very good. Okay, I get it, but we're in 2026. I played this game in 2026, and if you haven't played it yet, you're probably also going to play it in 2026. And in 2026, it looks bad. Okay, it does not look good. That's facts. I don't care if it was released. I don't care if when it was released it looked good. Okay, I don't care about that because I can't go back to the past. Even if I do, you know, I have this knowledge of modern games, so it doesn't matter. It looks crap, okay? However, this is not a point of criticism. Do not misunderstand. For me, this game is a drama. For me, Vampire Masquerade is a drama/comedy game. So the goofy animations, the clunky movements, the like the uncanny faces or whatever, you know, it reinforces the game's comedy for me. And this is not me like stretching it. This is not me trying to sugarcoat the game or whatever. I genuinely do not think the game would be as charming if it looked like The Witcher 3. It would be a completely different game in my opinion. Of course, it would be really cool to have this game remastered and looking good, but it just wouldn't be as charming. It wouldn't have that comedic effect. I don't think it wouldn't be the same. Like that dark comedy charm would not be as strong. Maybe it could be a more serious game if it has better graphics, okay? And maybe it'll still manage to be funny, but it will not be as funny, I guarantee. And I wouldn't mind that type of game, but I'm saying with this game, it's so good. The bad graphics actually reinforces the game because it makes it so much funnier. You know, it's aged like fine wine, man. Okay, and the reason I felt compelled to talk about this is because I finally did it. But I felt compelled to make this video because games don't need good graphics for immersion. Modern games are very mediocre. You gotta play old games, see what gaming is all about, why gaming became such a big hobby, and how immersion can be created without incredible realistic looking graphics. So in short, just don't make my mistake. Just pick up one of these games that look interesting, one of these old games that look really interesting to you. For me, it was a vampire game, and it's opened a whole path, a whole bunch of video games that now I have to play and that I am actually so excited for. Of course, like even modern video games, there are a lot of them. There's a lot of good games out there. My favorite one so far is No Rest for the Wicked. It is still in early access, of course, but for me, it's one of the best games to have come out in a very long time. But yes, play some old games. You know, if you're tired of modern games, just give it a try. They're cheap, they're easy to run. Actually, Vampire Masquerade is not easy to run, but it is easy to set up. But whatever, go play old games.